Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today is Monday, August 25th, 2025. Oh my gosh, it feels like it's a mega promise Friday because there's so much that's going on just today, just in the last couple days. All right, so just when I got myself in the home front, kind of back in order, I got debanked, so I had to shut down my store for a little bit, but now it's back up and running. So, yep, got debanked. Didn't think that was ever going to happen, but I got a full debank, so whatever. But if you want to support our show, you can go to our store. But if you want to find out where am I, how can you find me, you can always go to the links button right here. And we have our daily shows on YouTube. And I'm going to be back on Rumble as of today with the full videos. So I'll have to change that there. But thanks so much for supporting our show. Thank you so much for supporting us on Locals as well as on X. So get yourself nice and comfy with your sweetheart or with your family or with your little fur buddy. Isn't this a cute post? It's from Buddy LOL. If happiness had a face, this would be it. They're both adorable, right? The little puppy dog and then the police officer. Oh, it's so beautiful. Yeah, that's the face that anons and surfers are getting right now. It's really wonderful. Well, President Trump is going all, oh man, I'll tell you, we got FAFO, we got Dark MAGA, we got Gangsta Trump out in full force, and he's not holding back. EO today, he signed on, if you burn the flag, you get 1 year in jail. New York City Perp walks already started. I'm going to show you a video clip on that. And then Trump is prepared and on all fronts. I have so much to cover, guys, so I'm not going to be able to get everything that has happened in the last 48 hours in this podcast, so I'll do the best I can. But I want to cover a few things about MAHA, Make America Happy and Healthy Again. President Trump claimed he would reduce by the favored nations. He would reduce the drug prices, but guess what? He stated he will reduce the drug prices by 1,400 to 1,500%. Now, in my humble opinion, you decide. President Trump is implying cures will be coming out. That cost a lot less than ongoing prescription treatments. Now, you can click on these AI searches and it will link to where it came from so you can read like the little links that come with this right here. But he's claiming he didn't mean 40 to 50, or he didn't say 50%. I mean 14 to 1,500. He reiterated during public remarks, asserting that these reductions will begin within the next 2 to 3 months, and that the U.S. will pay the same drug price as the lowest price developed nations under the favored nation, most favored nation pricing model. Trump has taken several actions to support this goal, including signing an executive order, but he is making it happen. So you know we're getting very close. We know President Trump's got until he's working towards a big birthday celebration for the nation, for America, which is July 4th of 2026. So he is moving at, in my humble opinion, lightning speed. But you can go ahead and click on that. Okay, then, Bobby Kennedy, he just fired 1,600 people at the CDC. Now, remember, at the CDC, the assignee for this patent, I don't know if you guys knew, but back in 2020, when this was surfacing, the U.S. patent, we all found this, right? The patent. This is the first patent. There's another one that starts with 10 million, but this one starts at 7 million. When this came out, I don't know if I told you, but there was a CBS reporter that reached out to me, and this person was responsible for the online CBS stuff, and asked, is this real? I'm like, yeah, take a look at it. Well, it was really interesting because shortly after that, this got taken off of the patent registration. But check this out. The assignee right here. So this is back in 2007 when it was approved, but this was filed during Bush's years, 2004. The assignee, the United States of America, as represented by the Secretary of DHS, okay, let's just put it that way, CDC and prevention. So Bobby Kennedy is getting rid of the dirty CDC. Man, I'll tell you, this is what we're seeing right now is everything that the Trump team, not Congress, but the Trump team is doing, and they're moving at lightning speed. Did you notice that? a lot of things. The only thing that, well, the big thing that Congress did was pass the OBB bill. What else have they done this year? Not a zippo. They did a lot of talking, but we have President Trump going out here and his team, and they're in beast mode. They're getting things done, right? Now this is where it gets really big, okay? Because something big is really brewing, and this is written before President Trump actually signed the EO today about the burning of the American flag. But it's something big is brewing or is brewed right now. Okay, first of all, today is the delisting day for Evergrande, which they got delisted from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and that is today. The impact to bondholders. So we've talked about this many times, and how many banks and many big corporations, they went ahead and they became bondholders. So Evergrande said, oh, don't worry, trust me. They may have paid $10 million, but Evergrande said, oh, don't worry, Hillary's going to win. So go ahead and you could put that in your balance sheet as $1 billion, right? Okay, well, now they got delisted. So the impact on bondholders is Evergrande's offshore bondholders, which would be those in the United States as well, are expected to receive a very small recovery, potentially only a few cents to the dollar. And that amount is they estimate at 3.53%. So out of every $1, they get $3.53 cents, pennies, period. That's it. Now, I haven't seen the fallout happen as of yet with the banks, but we are beginning to see a lot of other things happening. And I will get to that podcast later this week, because Gemini opened up their XRP application as well, and many people already started signing up for that. But in terms of this right here, it was really big, because this is what we needed to see. Remember, the foundation of every crooked, corrupt person out there is what? Money. And that's what motivates them. That's why they get all their dirty deals. They get their kickbacks, and they get their bribe money and all that other stuff. Well, and Fox and Friends, they reported that debanking the bank executives claim Obama and Biden pressured them to cut off conservatives' accounts. So thank you, loser Barry and bumblehead Biden, for what happened over the weekend and today. So last night, yesterday afternoon, Dan posted this. President Trump with this is the mugshot background, right? And this eating popcorn. Guys, this is called the boomerang. Boom, boom, boom. So let me dive right in. So President Trump signing the executive order burning or desecrating the American flag, which this executive order, according to AI searches, also allows federal agencies to potentially revoke visas or immigration benefits for non-citizens, such as green card holders that are found guilty of flag desecration. This is really big, because there was a report from ICE that said that they deported somebody who's been in the United States for 33 years, and he's getting deported because he committed crime. So even if if people have a green card, they could still get deported. From what I also read, even if those that had green cards and became citizens of the United States, they can get deported. That's big. Trump also deployed. So now let me get into this. I'm repeating myself from last week, but it's not 19 cities. I need to make a correction on this. Trump deployed the National Guard to 19 states through mid-November of 2025. National Guard troops are now armed in D.C., JAG officers to prosecute misdemeanors in D.C. Trump's America now controls 10% of Intel. What has Intel been doing to us right now? Trump's Space Force can monitor their chips, and Trump already made a deal with Apple, so now we know both Android and Apple devices are covered. And then Trump hits about getting rid of licenses for fake news. Hillary called their fate back in 2024. I'll get to that in a moment. Trump called out Obama and Hillary as treason, and that was a month and 3 days ago. I just want to give a friendly reminder on that, because many people missed that. DOJ already sent the case for Obama and all his cohorts. They already sent it to the grand jury. That did not make big news. That should have been a big, big headline. Michael Cohen, yesterday, 2 days ago, excuse me, he was on MSNBC, and he even said that John Bolton needs to lawyer up. Fraud investigations for Letitia James, Adam Schiff, and Lisa Cook are a little bigly. It's going to be very costly for them. And Trump hunting to revoke licenses for fake news. I'll play the clip in a second, but I wanted you to read this. Trump signs flag desecration order. He is expected to sign, this is before he had made the announcement today, targeting individuals who desecrate, burn the American flag, including through burning, by mandating they face prosecution under existing laws. Now, what they face is 1 year, not 10 years, not 1 month, but 1 full year in prison. Can you imagine those that are burning flags out there? Because President Trump, he's prepping for something really big. Now, you can read the rest of this on your own, but this is what he says.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. No early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, you get, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they?
Yeah, incitement.
Incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail if you hurt any of our beautiful monuments. Everybody left town. They were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing. We stopped it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way, it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important. Because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working, because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world, by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that
now get ready for this. All right, listen to this part very carefully.
They call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe. The president agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented. European and other countries were represented, and it was a great meeting. But your country is respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So It's an honor to be involved.
Oh, the sound of that pen is driving the liberals all nuts. 38, President Trump, he emphasized that if you add 7 plus 28, he said 28 nations were represented. 7 plus 28 is 35. But then he said 38, 38, 38, right? Q 38. 4 carriers and escorts in the Pacific? Why is that relevant? What did he do last week? Didn't he send out carriers with 4,000 servicemen to Venezuela? All right. Now, again, maybe there's other carriers in other parts of the United States. Now, Venezuela, of course, would be out in the Atlantic. But why is this relevant? To prevent other state actors from attempting to harm us during this transition, Russia/China. Remember, Russia deal with Ukraine, and China is going to work on that agreement with President Trump. Trump gave him a deadline, an extension in their deadline. Or conversely, all for North Korea. Who's visiting President Trump today, right? The president of the Republic of Korea. Or all 3? Think logically about the timing of everything happening. Note, increased military movement. Note, NG deployments starting tomorrow. Note, false flags. Follow HUMA. Prepare messages of reassurance based on what was dropped here to spread on different platforms. The calm before the storm. I don't know how much more blatant President Trump can be. He's trying to give as many hints as possible. He's practically spelling it out for us, but he can't say anything because it is still a military operation that he has to get through this. Trump deployed the National Guard to 19 states, not cities, and up to 1,700 National Guard troops will be mobilized from August through mid-November 2025 in Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Louisiana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee. California is not on the Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. California isn't on this list because guess what? Since June, the National Guard and ICE are already there. And now they are getting the police, law enforcement officers are getting federal backing, which is huge. National Guard troops are armed in D.C., but guess what? The armed NGs are also going to Chicago. This is what this article says. They're going to Chicago and Baltimore, preparing for something big, and they need to protect themselves, right? That they need to arm themselves. They need to protect the good people. And remember, again, I'm repeating this many times, but how often do you have a JAG officer, which is a military attorney, prosecuting misdemeanors in D.C.? They are getting so ready for something very big, right? So these are usually the military lawyers, and they usually go through military courts, but they are considered federal, so they would fall under the federal jurisdiction, which is really big. Trump hinted about getting rid of licenses for certain fake news. He was calling a couple of fake news. I'll get to that in a moment. Big time. And so what this clip is, it's about back in 2024, a year ago, September 2024, where Hillary's on MSDNC, and she called out the fate of fake news. And she said, those people that are sharing propaganda, they should be arrested. She said, first of all, was talking about people getting arrested for election interference. Of course, she was talking about Russia, but let's use her words against them. And then she talked about people that are putting out propaganda should be criminally or civilly charged, which tells me she is talking about fake news. Because we know fake news, they were given the rights to go out there and put propaganda, whatever, loser Barry signed. But was it legal, right? And so she is talking about them getting criminally charged. So it's kind of interesting because is she talking about the fake news? That's really their fate. Last month, President Trump dropped this big, huge, massive, ginormous bomb.
They caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. You know, when we caught Hillary Clinton, I said, you know what? Let's not go too far here. It's the ex-wife of a president, and I thought it was sort of terrible. And I let her off the hook, and I'm very happy I did. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly. So people say, oh, you know, a group. It's not a group. It's Obama. His orders are on the paper. The papers are signed. The papers came right out of their office. They sent everything to be highly classified. Well, the highly classified's been released. And what they did in 2016 and in 2020 is very criminal. It's criminal at the highest level. So that's really the things you should be talking about. I know nothing about the other, but I think it's appropriate that they do go.
May I ask you about that, Mr. President? Tulsi Gabbard has submitted a criminal referral to the Department of Justice. From your perspective, who should the DOJ target as part of their investigation? What specific figures in the Obama administration?
Well, based on what I read, and I read pretty much what you read, it would be President Obama. He started it. And Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room, right here. This was the room. This is much more beautiful than it was then, but that's okay. I have nice pictures up. They came out of the vaults. They were in there for 100 years. This is much more beautiful. We have the Declaration of Independence now in the room, which wasn't here. I guess people didn't feel too good about putting it here, but I do. But you know what? If you look at those papers, they have them stone cold, and it was President Obama. It wasn't lots of people all over the place. It was them too. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? And except for the fact that he gets shielded by the press for his entire life, that's the one they look. He's guilty. It's not a question. You know, I like to say, let's give it time. It's there. He's guilty. This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. They did things that nobody's ever even imagined, even in other countries. You've seen some pretty rough countries. This man has seen some pretty rough countries, but you've never seen anything like it. And we have all of the documents. And from what Tulsi told me, she's got thousands of additional documents coming.
Okay. Big bombs, treason, Obama. He's the leader of the gang. And when he was talking about Hillary Clinton and they let her go, what he is telling us, in my opinion, again, you decide, what he's telling us is that he was saying they let her go because then they were following her, right? They were going to go ahead and let her roam out there, and because her strings got cut when she didn't win the election, her strings got cut. She was out there aimlessly doing whatever she was doing, and they more than likely ended up following her trail and found out all the dirt and all the dark, dirty places that she, you know, what she's been hiding and what she's been doing. He talked about the Declaration of Independence in the room. He's talking about bringing back the Constitution in. It's not the White House. He calls it the People's House. And also he redecorated that entire Oval Office. That entire office that he has right there, he did that and he paid for it himself. And then when he was talking about the classified information, well, I'll get to the extremities of how bad that can be for anybody that has classified information. And then we have this dude right here, right? Michael Cohen, he's a convicted felon, doesn't like Trump, tells MSNBC that John Bolton needs to lawyer up. He drops quite a few bombs in this short clip. Listen to this. And this was reported just 2 days ago on August 23rd, 2025.
Michael Cohen. Michael, what's your reaction to the raid of John Bolton's house? Hi.
Well, I've been there. As you know, years back, they raided my home, hotel, and my law office as well. Let me be very clear about something. What we have here is the Trump team, the DOJ, going through, for example, the book, The Room Where It All Happened, which I actually had read while I was in solitary confinement. And they've noticed that there are many aspects of this book that appear to be of national security importance. And that's what I believe that they predicated this raid upon. I also believe that there's no doubt that he will be indicted. They will find documents once they go through, for example, his computer. They'll find the manuscript. They'll see emails going back and forth between John Bolton, his people, as well as maybe the attorney that reviewed it for, for legal ease and for, for questions. I believe that he needs to lawyer up, and very much like what happened 2 years ago, Reality Winner. That's a name that nobody talks about anymore. One document that was about Russian election interference ultimately had her incarcerated. She was a whistleblower, had her incarcerated for years. And I predict that John Bolton is going to suffer the same consequence.
That's pretty big coming from Michael Cohen. Okay, so he's already admitted that he was in solitary confinement, and he read his book, and he made it very clear that John Bolton is more than likely going to get indicted and that he will need to lawyer up. Fake news, the buddies of the dirty Democrats and the dirty swamp, they are buddies with them, right? Why? Because many of them are connected, married, affiliated, whatever, to somebody that's part of the swamp. So President Trump, he's actually going there. Last time he did this, he ended up defunding. One was PBS and the other one was NPR. So they have no more money to go ahead. They weren't really getting a whole lot from the public, so they were getting it from federal funds. Well, President Trump is here talking about getting their licenses revoked by the FCC. So he's really going after fake news right now, because we got to get the news to get back on board with the real news. And if it means that these have to go down in order for new ones to surface. By the way, did you know that MSNBC is changing their name to something like that? MS show or something like that, some stupid thing, I don't know. So, and we know CNN, some of the reporters there are talking very favorably about Trump. So imagine the screams you're going to hear from the liberals that love to listen to these liberal news outlets, and they're not going to get the kind of information that they're used to getting. And the three cohorts involved in mortgage fraud: Letitia James, an attorney general; Adam Schiff, a senator; and Lisa Cook, the Federal Reserve Board governor. It is the mortgage fraud, guess that it is punishable up to 30 years in federal prison and fines up to $1 million. This is not just something that they brush over. They've been getting away with this for years, and these people think that they are untouchable, that nobody will ever come and visit, nobody will ever inspect the property. They get these favorable loan terms. You and I could never get that, right? But check this out. Look what Ed Martin did over the weekend. Actually, he did it about 10 days ago, but President Trump just posted this over the weekend about Ed Martin. He checks out Tish James' mortgage fraud home after being tapped for probes. Ed Martin, it says in here, he's out there with his trench coat, like Columbo, right? An investigator for Columbo. And he came back with that what Tish James, she used her dad's name to get the mortgage loan. She said it was her primary residence. It was a multi-unit dwelling. She said it was only 4 units. It's actually 5. So she's got a lot of fraudulent information in here. But you got Ed Martin, who's not afraid to go out there and then go to Tish James' home. I mean, these people are thinking, do you know who I am? Well, nah, yeah, we know who you are, but you're going to be treated like anybody else that commits a crime. When John Bolton's place got raided, his home and his office got raided, what I didn't know is that he was under investigation. And Gateway Pundit posted this, that Bolton is under investigation for violating sections of the Espionage Act. That's pretty big, guys. And you're probably thinking, well, why did Trump bring him on board on his team? Why did he bring Michael Cohen on his team, right? Well, he knows what he's doing. President Trump is very, very smart. He plays 10D chess. Just right here, President Trump knew what he was doing with Bolton. Follow me on this one. Stay with me, okay? Please. Q994 says, follow Bolton clean stage, learn how to archive offline. The streets will not be safe for them. Well, this Q post was posted August 3rd of 2018. Again, guess when Bolton started with Trump? In April of 2018. So President Trump knew what he was doing when he brought Bolton on board and brought him on, and he trapped him knowing that Bolton was going to do what he was doing, and then the 10D chess was in play. So President Trump is an absolute genius. All the classified information that they got, was it a trap as well, right? Now let's look at the perp walks. So this is what happened very quietly because the news didn't want to report this, but Freedom TV went ahead and posted this. There were 7 people that got perp walked, and they were going in for their arraignment hearing. Look at this. This person right here, Ingrid Lewis Martin, she was working directly under Eric Adams. Check this out.
Gina, do you regret interfering in McGuinness Boulevard?
Excuse me, 8 people. So these were part of Eric Adams' team. They were also a part of a real estate development. They were getting favorable terms. A real estate developer was saying he wanted a particular permit, wanted to make sure somebody didn't get a permit. And of course, this office was so corrupt that they were working on doing all the bribery things. Is it really worth it? I mean, was it worth it? Now they're going to be looking at, I don't know how many years in prison. Jesse talks with journalist Michael Schellenberger, and he says after raiding Bolton's house, the FBI could be coming after Brennan, Clapper, and Comey next. And Schellenberger says, look, I've been told from administration officials that the Department of Justice is serious, and the FBI is looking into Brennan, Clapper, and Comey. Again, they've already been referred to for grand juries, and they have already been referred to, including Obama, to Guantanamo Bay. Senator Ron Johnson already referred them. Now it's just a matter of how things are going to play out. So you see how President Trump is getting the foundation ready for the military, arming the National Guard, getting the National Guard at 19 different states, right? Making sure that our oceans are also covered, making sure how big is the fallout and who is that 1 big, 2 big, 5 big people that will go down. And President Trump, through Il Donato, says, to be fair, we did give the swamp a couple of warning shots. These are clips from the military parade, right? When they were firing off the cannons and the fireworks, and oh my gosh, all the comms that went with that. And this is so cool. Last Friday, President Trump, he met with the men that were renovating the White House, the Oval Office, all the different things that are going on, the ballroom as well. And he has them come into the Oval Office. This is such a big move. I don't think these guys realize how big it is, but they're so humble. They get MAGA hats. They get little gifts from President Trump. I'm not too sure what it is, little maybe magnets or something like that. But they're all given some kind of gift from President Trump, and they were also able to meet him personally, which is, how awesome is that? Yeah. What President Trump said over at his State of the Union, all we needed was a new president. Well, we got President Trump, but he's coming back as a completely different president this time around because he doesn't care what anybody thinks at all. He's just going for it and just doing what he needs to do to bring our country back and to give the greatness back to you, the people, we the people. So we know it's going to get rough. It's going to get very bumpy. Just be prepared. SMS Enterprise posted this. It was a Dan Scavino clip, and it says 114 and Q114. Again, military is the only way. U.S. military equals savior of mankind, period. We will never forget, period. Fantasyland, period. God save us all, Q. So get ourselves ready. President Trump, again, he welcomes dignitaries, leaders from the world. And again, we already know what he said, that they call me the president of Europe. He is the leader of the world. They're just coming to visit their boss, let's just say. But he's pointing out, while they're being welcomed, this is the president of the Republic of Korea. Check this out. Listen to what he says. God, I love our boss man. He's like, he whispers to him and says, we call them the fake news. So get your surfboards ready, guys, and get your popcorn ready, guys, because Sammy's getting all excited, ready to go ahead and ride some big tidal waves with President Trump. And please get your earbuds ready. Because we're going to need them. That screeching sound that you hear from a distance, right? It echoes in your neighborhood. Those aren't tire screeching sounds. Those are more than likely the sounds of the TDSer that lives close by you or works next to you or near you that's just seething and screaming because they still have nothing. They aren't winning. We are winning. If they could just join us and be a part of the winning team, but get them ready because it's going to be pretty big. President Trump's got all his pieces in place, guys. So we know that God's already won this. We already know a lot of things already happened. Now it's just a matter of everything rolling out into something very ginormous. So enjoy the time, embrace these moments, keep your faith in God like you always have, but even more so, and know that God's got this and he's got you. Yeah. So have yourselves a beautiful, beautiful afternoon, day, evening, whenever you're watching this show. And I will have a show tomorrow. Aloha.